Hello and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths. Today we're going to be talking about something that gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. Earth angels. You know, those remarkable humans who walk around among us, spreading light and making the world a better place, often without any recognition or fanfare. Now, when we say earth angels, we're not talking about celestial beings with wings. We're talking about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The kind of people who remind us that magic still exists in the world. It just looks like kindness, compassion, and selfless service. Maybe you've been an earth angel for someone. Denise, I know you've been an earth angel for me.
And you as well.
Oh,
We've held space for each other for a long time now, and I appreciate that greatly.
I do too. And so we thought it would be nice to share some incredible stories of earth angels walking among us right now. Because, you know, the news has just been, how would you define it? Crummy?
Challenging.
Challenging? Fear porn, as I like to call it.
That's doom scrolling, fear porn, all those highlights. Yes,
all of it. Yeah. What's the one? The doom bingo card of apocalypse or something?
Yeah. Let's focus on that.
Yeah. So we just thought it would be nice to talk about real people doing really amazing, beautiful, wonderful things. And if you're an earth angel, we want to hear from you too, because I know so many of you, probably all of you listening, have served as an earth angel at least a dozen times for someone. Maybe you served as an earth angel for someone and you didn't even know it. It's just who you are. You're just naturally kind and helpful. But I think it's important to cultivate and hold on to these stories and give people credit, because we need to remember that the idea of the earth angel exists in all of us.
Yes, and that's the point in all of this is we can come together, we can help each other out, we can support each other, and it doesn't take away from anything that's going to happen wonderful in our own life.
No, exactly. Like, for example, in Union County, North Carolina, there's a woman who's become a guardian angel for kids aging out of foster care. She recently started a nonprofit to help these young adults transition into an independent life, proving that sometimes earth angels show up exactly when they're needed most, which is so important because in the foster care system, you age out at 18.
Right.
And yeah, I know you can like vote and go to war when you're 18, but you're still a kid.
Well,
And they're just on their own.
Right. And consider they're still in school or they're still, trying to get services because there's no backup. It's a very tenuous time. And I absolutely love that and having worked with folks that have been in the foster care system for many years of my professional life, every once in a while you come across someone like this beautiful person who really understood that your chronological age doesn't end your need for support.
Yes, exactly. And then there's Kim Carter Tillman. She was just named 2025's Remarkable Woman of the Year for her transformative work through the Time for Change Foundation. She's been an earth angel to countless individuals, helping them rebuild their lives from the ground up. But you know, earth angels don't just appear in grand gestures. Sometimes they show up in the quietest moments, like the group of volunteers who recently made headlines when they saved a man suffering cardiac arrest at their local YMCA. They didn't hesitate, they just acted, channeling that divine timing that earth angels seem to have.
And that there was something I read recently, and it was talking about how few people will step in if someone is having a medical issue or something where people in the past would have just jumped in to help, but now there's such a fear of being sued or litigation or held accountable. So I love that these people stepped in and said, you know what, we're going to help this man.
Yeah, me too. They put all of that aside.
Right. And I think if more of us can, and I'm not doing stupid stuff, but this is so not what we're talking about today, but kind of is. I got very disgusted the other day because I was looking at something and I thought, you're just doing that to get attention. You're not doing it from your heart. And I think that it was a social media thing. And I thought, it looks good, but it's so staged. So I think that's another important part with what we're talking about is most of the Earth Angel people do it with spontaneity, with love, with trust. They're doing it because they can't not do it.
Yes, that's such a good distinction. And as empaths, we have to trust when we meet someone or we're scrolling through social media and we see a post that just does not resonate with authenticity. I think it's important to trust that.
It so very much is. And this next one is a great example of that, of an Earth Angel who was seeing someone in need and really took action. And this woman, Tammy Conzier, went to grab lunch at a restaurant called the Eaton Park in Pennsylvania. And while she and her son were just munching on some fries, and she was talking to the waitress, who was an 81-year-old woman named Betty, who shared that she'd been working her whole life but couldn't afford to retire. So Conzier tipped her $40 but wanted to do more. So she made a video of Betty and her story. And before she knew it, donations for Betty's retirement flooded in. So far, Tammy has helped raise over $300,000 for Betty. And we talked about this a little bit before we were recording about people who have more resources at certain times in their life have more options. And for those that are going into retirement without a pension or a strong 401k or anything else, that can be really scary.
Yeah.
And she might have been working by choice, but it sounds like she was working by necessity as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just tipping $40 on a bill, I'm sure just getting fries at the Eaton Park, the bill wasn't, $40. So she tipped her quite a bit. That's an act of an Earth Angel. But to
Yes,
go above and beyond and make a TikTok video about it that went viral, and now this woman does have enough money, hopefully, to retire. And that's such a beautiful thing.
it truly is. It really, really is. And it didn't take away from that woman to do that, because the way you're describing it, she didn't put it out there with, hey, look at me, how I'm helping this person. It was more, look at this really cool lady who's working hard. How can we help her out?
Yeah, let's all chip in. And some Earth Angels are here to help our four-legged and winged friends, so we can't forget them as well, because there are many, many ways Earth Angels will show up in this world. Recently, we read about a 90-year-old English woman who owns an animal rescue sanctuary, and she has rescued 10,000 animals from abuse or abandonment and has no plans of stopping. For over 50 years, Barbie Keel has been running the Barbie Keel Animal Sanctuary in Sussex, England. It all started back in the 70s when a British Army soldier asked her to watch his dog while he was deployed. She took in another dog, and then a charity organization asked her to take in some cats. Fast forward 50 years, and she looks after more than 600 animals, including 160 cats, 16 pigs, 8 dogs, 6 horses, 100 chickens, and 80 rabbits. She says, before long, I had about 40 cats and started taking in farm animals like sheep, cows, pigs, and goats. Some of the animals are rehomed, but the majority of them will stay on the farm and live out their days here. The 12-acre sanctuary, which she ran for 20 years all by herself, but now manages with a motley crew of volunteers, provides a refuge for hundreds of abandoned, rescued, or abused animals from farms, kennels, or private owners. She tends to the animals daily and only leaves the sanctuary every few weeks to go shopping or play for the local darts team. Despite having battled cancer 3 times, the animal lover says she has no plans to slow down or retire. So I guess we don't need to do a viral TikTok for her.
No. And when I read this one, I thought, oh, dear God, you take out the darts and that's my future, isn't it? That I'm just going to be out in the woolies somewhere with all these animals, happy as a little lark, mucking stalls and stuff.
You would love that.
I would. She only leaves every couple of weeks. I mean, it sounds like Mecca.
I know. And she's doing such beautiful work because there are so many animals who can't be rehomed for a variety of reasons.
And just the fact that when you read the full article, on this woman. She said, some days I'm tired, and it's a lot of physical work. And it is a lot of physical work to take. So when you look at the amount of animals and the time and all the behind the scenes, I'm glad she has a motley crew to help her now.
Me too.
We tend to think that it's only adults that can play this role, but here's a story about a little boy who served as an earth angel for a baby cow. Oh, another animal story. So a 9-year-old boy was convinced something was wrong when he spotted a cow in a field acting erratically, and he wouldn't stop begging his mother to turn the car around. Wyatt Bam was heading home with his mom after getting breakfast on Tuesday when he saw the mother cow running around frantically near Eminence, Indiana. She initially brushed it off, but Wyatt was relentless. I didn't think anything of it at first, but he was so upset and kept saying we had to go back, so I turned around. After pulling off near a bridge, Wyatt told her to stay in the car, saying he could fit through the fence. He walked along State Road 42, slipped through the barbed wire, and into the pasture. While his mom shot video through the window, Wyatt approached the cow and realized, oh, her baby was stuck down this steep bank of a creek. His proud mother told reporters he made sure the mama was out of the way, then gently pushed the calf up and out of the water, and then the baby and the mama were happily reunited. It was incredible. He knew just what to do. Okay.
That's beautiful.
All right. This is judgy. Why wasn't her ass down there helping him push that cow out?
I know. I did think about that. Why was she sitting in her car videoing? I would never say to my 9-year-old, yes, you go help that distressed, panicky,
right. Just
giant cow.
run into this field off the highway and just good
Don't
luck
let
with
the
that.
barbed wire scratch you, honey. Mommy's got to post this on TikTok.
But he could be just one of those kids that's very reliant and wants to do it his own, and it worked out well, and he saved the baby cow, and that's what matters.
I know. That's just incredible. We have another story out of Pennsylvania about an earth angel seeing a news story about an elderly couple who was scammed out of some money, and he just jumped in and took action to help. After a senior couple were scammed out of some new landscaping work they'd paid for, they went on the news to talk about it, just mainly to kind of, share with people like, hey, don't work with these people because they'll take your money and they'll never come and do the work. So a group of landscapers decided to pitch in and help out. They had lost out on a $6,750 deposit for a new retaining wall for their driveway, and the couple was shocked when someone else jumped in and offered to do it for free. When landscaping contractor Ray Benvenuto saw the news story, he just called them up and said, I can do it and I won't charge you. He told reporters, we actually just did a job for a lady who got scammed out of money. I'm tired of seeing this stuff going on. So with the help of volunteers, he and his crew got the job done in time for Easter when the couple had a bunch of family coming into town. See, that's nice when you can just watch a news story. Like I would watch that news story and go, oh my gosh, that's so sad. But there's not a whole lot I could do. But he owned a landscaping business and was like, well, I can fix that. I can help. And I think that's part of being an earth angel is when you see someone in need and you have the skills and resources to help, jump in and help. That's what we're all here to do. It's to be there for each other when we can, how we can.
Well, personal opinion, we're back on the judgment train again. I think there is a personal place in hell for people that do that to old people. I really do.
It's terrible.
It's just, but anything that's little kids, animals, and old people, we're supposed to protect them.
Exactly.
So, sometimes an earth angel can be about helping nature. And there are a lot of stories about how people are trying to support the natural world, which, Samantha and I feel really strongly about. And from India, there was a story of this man, and really remarkable, but even more remarkable was the tree. And it was able to produce 300 different varieties of mangoes on one tree. I'm going to so butcher that man's name, so I'm just going to say this wonderful man has been cultivating mango varieties since the 1950s. A school dropout, the 84-year-old began experimenting with grafting in 1957. Once he found the healthiest and most deeply rooted tree in the family orchard, he then began grafting branches of other mango varieties onto it. And grafting is used in when you cultivate fruit trees, and it's attaching the branch from one tree to the base of the trunk or rootstock of another. And over time, the branch fuses with the rootstock and begins to grow as normal. So you can have 2, 3, 4 varieties on one tree. But selecting a mature and large Alfonso mango tree, Khan, I can say his last name, began a grafting process that's continued for decades until it was making world records. In 1 year, 350 different mango varieties were produced on that one tree. And this is kind of the humility. There's so much to say about my tree. It's been nurtured with immense love, and it holds a lifetime of memories. The tree itself is 125 years old, and Khan sees it as the living embodiment of his life's work. People often call me a self-taught scientist, but in reality, it's the trees who have been my teachers, he adds. I've spent my life with these trees, and when my time comes, I wish to be laid to rest beside them as they've always been a part of me.
Oh, I love that. When you find your thing, when you find your passion, it's amazing the amount of beautiful healing work you can do from that passion. And he had a passion for these mango trees.
There was a woman I spoke with recently, and she has that strong connection with trees. And it was really obvious talking to her that she feels the energy of each tree as an individual and part of a species, but also an individual. And I feel like this man in his own right, which you wouldn't think about it, he's in this orchard picking out the tree. He would be a plant empath.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. That's a good point. So sometimes our different levels of empathy can, exhibit themselves as a form of being an earth angel.
Mm-hmm.
And, for anyone listening to this right now who's just feeling tired listening to some of these stories, like I know for me, the thought of like running an animal rescue for 50 years makes me tired. Or taking on a project of helping 18-year-olds age out of foster care as a volunteer effort for the rest of my life, that makes me tired too. And I'm not, I'm not saying I'm so busy, but I just want to say sometimes we're in those busy seasons of our life where we can't take on those big projects. Like I've always dreamed of being a volunteer for the Guardian Ad Litem program in my retirement, if I'm ever able to retire.
Mm-hmm.
But we can serve as earth angels in little moments too. So for any busy parents out there or anyone right now who's just feeling pulled in a million directions, you can still feel that surge of just wonderfulness you get when you do something nice for someone else, just by returning a smile or giving someone a random compliment, or if you're pushing your grocery cart back into the little home it lives in the parking lot and you see someone else has left theirs in the middle, pick it up and put that back too. To me, those small gestures are also acts of earth angels.
And it all helps. It all makes a difference. But
Yeah,
I think it really does come back to, are you doing it with an open heart because you want to help? If you're doing
right.
it because you want someone to notice you or say, aren't you wonderful? I think that kind of tinges the energy behind it.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. But even that's better than some of
Right.
the negative stuff in the news,
100%. And it's more so of you, you just made a really, really important point. It might be something really tiny in our eyes and something that really is huge for the person that receives it.
Yeah, and you just don't know.
You
You
don't.
really don't know. You read stories all the time about someone who was having a bad day or was just really thinking about giving up on all of it. And then they just meet a nice, kind stranger who sits next to them on the plane and cheers them up. Or, they're in line and they talk to someone and they say the right thing they need to hear at that exact moment. I think that's spirit working through us, but it's also another example of being an earth angel and just acting in that moment. But we have to be connected to ourselves, to our source of spirituality, and we have to be willing to stay in the present moment to capture those opportunities to be an earth angel. Sometimes like when I'm really, really busy and caught up and swept up in all my to-dos, I think I could be at a restaurant and someone would be choking like those volunteers we talked about early on, and I might not even notice. Do you ever get in those busy seasons of your life?
Oh, very much so.
And
Yeah.
then there's other times when I'm super calm and just a beautiful serene ocean inside my soul, and then I would notice that and hopefully I would act on that and help that person. I always like to think I would do the right thing, but I just don't want anyone listening to this who is super busy and pulled going, "Oh, for the love of God, I've got to take care of my family. I got to go to my job 40 hours a week and I got to be an earth angel for people." It's the little things. And sometimes earth angels can be our very own pets. I love this story. A 6-year-old Anatolian Pyrenees dog named Buford is receiving gifts from strangers after he successfully rescued a missing toddler. After the little boy named Bowden wandered off from his family's home on April 14th, the couple called family members for help searching for Bowden and eventually contacted the sheriff's office. More than 40 rescuers and a Department of Public Safety helicopter were brought in to assist. I didn't even know how to process, the mom told reporters. I looked at his empty bed in the middle of the night and I'm like, this isn't real. How is he not here? How is he out by himself somewhere in the dark? A rancher named Scotty Dunton said that about 16 hours after Bowden disappeared, he found the toddler on his property. The rancher's dog found the child sleeping under a tree and led him back to Dutton's ranch, which is about 7 miles from the Allens' home. Dutton
Wow.
said, yeah, can you imagine? Dutton said he had traced the child's steps and found that Buford had escorted him for at least a mile by just following the tracks. The toddler's dad said, God sent that dog to rescue my son. Now people from all over are sending gifts to the dog. Dunton added that he has heard from people all over the world since his dog's rescue mission, and that Buford is now an honorary member of the Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team. They even gave him a vest. Isn't that sweet?
That is, they're fabulous dogs. They are absolutely fabulous dogs, livestock dogs, but equally, what a perfect name for
I
that,
know.
for that beautiful boy.
I know, the picture is so cute with his little vest and all the little treats people have been sending him from all over, and he looks so proud.
I do think that was divine intervention that that dog went and found that little boy.
Yeah, I do too. 7 miles.
That's a long way.
Uh-huh.
Whew.
He was like 1.5 or 2. He was little. Like he had just learned to walk, I think, from what I read.
Oh my goodness. It's just think when that raw panic you feel when your little kids are missing, for you turn in the grocery store and they're gone and you're like, oh dear God, where are they? I can't even fathom what that family was going through, and then how to have Buford go and find the little guy.
And keep
That's,
him warm overnight.
yeah. Huh. So, all of these are stories that are special. They're all unique. They're all different. And sometimes, they earth angels don't wait for the perfect conditions. They don't wait for someone else to step up. They see a need and they fill it, like the Cleveland man who uses his talent with poetry to help others heal and find their voice. He's proof that earth angels use whatever gifts they have to light up the world, which goes back to what you said a few minutes ago. But here's the thing about earth angels, they're not superhuman. They get tired. They face obstacles. They sometimes wonder if they're making a difference, and that's exactly what makes them so inspiring. They keep going anyway. What I find fascinating is that earth angels often work in networks, like this beautiful initiative where local artists are collaborating to paint murals, promoting kindness and inclusivity in their communities. They're literally painting light into dark spaces. So, how do you recognize an earth angel? Here are some signs. They show up consistently, not just for the big moments, but for the small ones too. They don't seek recognition. In fact, many of them prefer to work behind the scenes. They have this incredible ability to make others feel seen, heard, and valued. They often work in areas of greatest need where others might look away. They lean in. And perhaps most importantly, they inspire others to be better, to do more, to care deeper. But here's what we want you to really hear today. You don't have to do enormous things to be an earth angel. Sometimes it's as simple as organizing virtual support services like online tutoring or mentoring. Sometimes it's just being there when someone needs you. Remember, earth angels aren't born. They're made through countless small choices to be of service, to show up, to care. And the beautiful thing, there's an earth angel in each of us just waiting to spread their wings. So the next time you feel that pull to help someone, to stand up for what's right, to offer comfort or support, that's your earth angel calling. And just answer it. The world needs more earth angels now than ever before. If you know an earth angel in your life, maybe take a moment to let them know how much their light means to you.
Oh, I think that's really important, is to give back some of the kindness that's been shown to us and let them know how much it means. There's a man who does that every year on his birthday. He writes thank you letters to people who helped him or inspired him or pushed him on in that birthday year before. Isn't that a great idea?
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I think sometimes it goes back to what you were saying about being busy. We'll have the best of intentions of reaching out or checking in, and then we get caught in the spiral and the swirl and everything that needs to happen. And it's harder to go back later and do those things, but I don't think it's ever too late.
No, never, never, never too late for that. And it's true that they do stay in the background. Years ago, when I was writing for my local newspaper, I had read that we had one of the only last remaining orphanages about an hour away from my city. You don't really think about that anymore, that there are still orphanages around the country. It's usually foster care.
Right.
So I asked my editor if I could do a story on that. And I remember she was like, oh, we covered it a couple of times. I don't think so, but I just couldn't let it go. So I called the orphanage up and I was like, are there any like news stories? And she was like, well, yeah, we have been covered a couple of times. We always like the press for, donations. And she said, but we do have a wonderful woman who comes in every holiday to cook a meal for all the kids here so they can have like a true home cooked meal. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I have her name? So I wrote a story on her, and it was really cool, Denise. Like every Christmas, she hand knitted all the kids their own stocking and would fill it and bring it along with the meal she'd cook for them.
Oh,
And she did not want to be interviewed. Like it was hard. And I did the story and it got a lot of good feedback. So my editor let me do an Earth Angels column for a while on, just local people doing nice things like that. And the first couple of stories were easy, but then it got really hard to find them because they like to stay in the background.
yes.
They don't want the credit. And these people were doing amazing things. So I would literally call different charity organizations. I called the senior center. I called social workers I knew, like trying to get these names of people because they don't do it for the accolades. The true Earth Angel. But that was really fun to find them out and meet them and talk to them. Some of the most humblest, kindest people I've met.
No, and I know I've shared this before, but I do love, love, love this story that my son worked for these two men who had started a company, and neither of them had children, but they started this very successful company. It was a side hustle job that my son had. And he got to know the owner of the company, who was a man, almost 70, I guess, at that point. And he and his brother had been adopted from an orphanage. And when their parents went to adopt them, they were just coming for this one man, but he was so attached to this other little boy that they adopted both of them. And both of these men have devoted their lives to, and they're both very, very successful, multimillionaires, incredibly successful. Neither of them had children. They've devoted their lives to supporting women in domestic violence situations or children who are in foster care. And they're planning on leaving all of their assets to that demographic.
Wow.
And, but they don't, my son had known this man for a long time, and he never knew the story. And the only reason he found out the story was because the man's wife brought it up. They were having a conversation, and he said, well, you know that, and he used the man's name, was adopted, and so with his brother. And she kind of filled my son in, but the man never said it. He never, it, and I think that humility but many of us that are empaths have been through a lot. So we do understand what it feels like to be that person in different circumstances. So I honestly believe many, many, many of us do earth angel things on a regular basis just because we know what it feels like to need that hand up.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like you're doing the gesture instinctually. And
Right.
so to get credit for it feels incorrect somehow because it's just your instinct as an
But
earth angel.
but I think it's lovely that the stories we shared are they're bringing it to light that there are people and animals doing things to make the world better. And I still have hope. No matter how dark this dark gets, I still have this ridiculous deep seed of hope in my heart right now.
Oh, I do too. I do too. And I actually get kind of angry when people just want to go on and on and on about all the negative stuff because I just think inherently we're good people and we're all going to help each other.
Well, and truly, if enough of us stick together, it will help.
It really really will.
We're not being altruistic. We're not being, oh, and just click your heels and it'll be great. No, there's a lot of heavy shit in the world right now, but we don't have to add to it.
I wanted to share something. I haven't run it past you, Denise, so you can delete this, okay?
Okay.
And I wasn't going to do this until June, but it fits with this show. So I'm going to talk about it and then you tell me if it doesn't work and you can delete it.
Okay.
Okay. So my birthday is coming up in June. And I've done this for a couple of years when I was teaching in the traditional classroom. And I'd like to do it again, where this is what I would like everyone to do. If I've brought you any joy or light, I would love for you to do a random act of kindness for someone, anyone, and just send me an email about it as a birthday gift to me.
Oh,
So when I was teaching in the traditional classroom, I would always tell students, like, once the semester's over, it's my birthday and it's summer and I'm going to celebrate. But if you want to help me celebrate or give me a gift, do a random act of kindness, write me a paper about it, and you'll get 10 extra points on your final exam. And it was so fun because the students would come up with the coolest things that they would do. The most anonymous, it has to be anonymous. You can't get credit for it. It just has to be a random anonymous act of kindness. And then just tell me about it. And then we can, if it's okay with you, Denise, we can share them on the show.
I think that would be a lovely show. That would be wonderful.
Okay, fantastic. So just if you feel inspired to do something nice for someone anonymously and you want to just shoot me an email about it, you can email me there, Samantha@samanthafay.com or enlightenedempaths@gmail.com. And then I'll put them all together and share them on an upcoming show.
Oh, that's beautiful. And it's
Little,
easy and it's free and it's something that um, it's nice. It's just really a nice energy to put out there.
yeah, and I hope it inspires people because I would have students go, gosh, if it weren't for those 10 points I needed, I never would have done this. Whatever it was that they did, and it felt so amazing. I think I've shared this one before, but my favorite one, I had this very like grumpy guy student, like a typical guy. He didn't want to be in an English class and he was very much an outdoors guy and he worked for a tree climbing business.
Mm-hmm.
And his one of his good friends got a job with that tree climbing business and he was so excited because he'd been through some stuff recently and he needed that job, but he couldn't afford the boots. You need those special boots to climb those trees and work with those heavy materials. And so my student bought him the boots and waited until like 1 a.m. and snuck onto his porch and left them there. And he never knew it was his friend that did that. Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
And what was the most fun was seeing the look of pure joy on this like tough guy's face of how much it brought him joy to do that for his friend. And he kept talking about it for weeks. He'd be like, Miss Faye, he's still asking me, like, do I think it was an angel? Like, who did it? He's like, I'm dying to tell him it was me, but it'll ruin the magic of it. I love that.
From what you're saying, if he was working for the tree company, going to school, trying to better himself, he might not have had the extra money laying around for those boots, but he
No.
know his friends needed them, that his
Yeah,
friend
no, I mean,
needed the
that was
boots.
definitely a stretch for him.
Yeah.
Those boots aren't cheap.
No, they are not.
Well, this has inspired me, and I hope my little birthday wish inspires everyone too. But I think we're all earth angels, and we just need to remember that and try to have that in our prayer life each morning when we start the day. Help me to do your will, help me to be an earth angel for my fellow humans.
I love that. And for our fellow creatures.
Yes.
So going back to the woman that does the animal sanctuary, maybe it's making sure that there's fresh water for some stray animals, or that there's, you can devote your earth angel energies to the planet or to
Uh-oh.
nature. It doesn't have to be for humans, but I think you can use earth angel energy just to be of service and to help something else out.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's all about. We're all here to just lift each other up, support one another, and help walk each other home, as Ram Dass said.
Oh, perfect.
Well, before we wrap up, we did want to let you all know that Denise and I are going to be teaching some really fun classes this summer, and we wanted to give you some information about it, see if you're interested, and tell you where you can find out more information. We're going to be teaching a class on how to start a spiritually based business, and we'll give you some more details about that once we've finalized that class date. But we're also going to be teaching our Mediumship 1 and 2 classes. The first mediumship class we are going to hold on 2 Saturdays, June 28th and July 12th. And the mediumship part 2 class, which takes it to a little bit more advanced level, is going to be held July 26th and August 9th. Now, we're going to teach these on Saturdays. We did it in the early or late winter, I guess, early spring.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really great because we had such a long time in the Saturday classes where we could do a lot of in-class exercises, partnering people up or doing group work to tune in and connect to the other side. And so it really gave us more freedom to explore with some interactive exercises. But like all of our other classes, you will still be partnered up with students from the class to work on mediumship exercises remotely on your own time. You'll also get a lot of guided meditations sent to you, a lot of great handouts, PowerPoints. All the classes are recorded and emailed to you. You also get invited to our private Facebook group for anyone who has taken our mediumship classes. So it really is great for helping you jumpstart your networking right away.
And I think during these times, if you have any, not even during these times, but always, if you've always wondered, am I a medium? Why am I sensing this? Is that really a visitation, or am I making it up in my head? The first level class is great just to get clarity on, okay, I'm not making this up. I am sensitive. This is how I process it. And then in the second class, the second part of the class, we're able to fine tune those skills a little bit and help you really make it your own.
Yeah, and help you really determine what your skill and your natural tendency is towards mediumship. Are you more of a physical medium, a mental medium? Do you feel like you want to work more with healing or animals? So that's a really fun part 2 of the class because it gets deeper into what are you going to do with this ability now that you know you have it and you know how to keep strengthening it. So
Right.
it's always so much fun to teach with you, Denise. And I think it's really helpful for our students because you and I have such different approaches. I tend to, I don't know, take a lot of time opening up myself up before reading. I tend to work with guides, whereas I feel like you're just more tuned in all the time and you're right there and you have really great suggestions for students on how to turn it on and off quickly and how to clear and cleanse your energy. So I think we give them different perspectives, which I think is helpful.
Right. Which goes along with helping you find the way that works best for you. So the fact that Samantha and I do it so differently, but we get to the same place, you're just finding your way to get there.
Yeah, and there's no right way or wrong way. And
No,
that's what I hope we teach and get across to students.
and
So
it's
you
fun.
can it's a lot of fun. So you can go to samanthafay.com and click the upcoming events tab. You can go to Denise's website, The Grateful Messenger, and click online classes and register there as well.
Perfect.
Yay. Hope to see you guys there. Don't forget, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light.
Take care.